What's up, folks? Welcome back to Theme Park Wizard. We're here with the Vash Guy Parkcast and the Magically MJ over there on the East Coast. How are you guys? MJ, let's start with you. First time on the channel. What's going on? What you got going on back in the East Coast?
Great. Beautiful weather. Can't complain.
Beautiful weather and great deals. Make sure to follow her on Instagram because she has discounts every single day of the week. In fact, she has so many, maybe your trip will be free by the end of it. And, you know, like,
probably with my links and your expertise on travel. Yeah, you'll definitely get a good deal.
That's right. Magically MJ everywhere.
Thank you.
That's right. Magically MJ with one L everywhere where you can find
one L.
One L. That's correct. Vash Guy. Oh, I think he has his own empire starting over there. Tell everybody about your own empire.
I don't know about an empire, but we do have a really cool community that I think we've cultivated, right, MJ? It's really cool to
amazing
to meet up with guys like you, Wizard, and obviously amazing women like MJ here, Erica and Raph, Ron, Culture Casino, WW Pro, Jonas, everybody. Really cool. OG55 recently came on the channel and offered his support to our very first live stream over there at Vash Sky Parkcast. Awesome stuff. Getting tremendous response from it. So that'll be cool to go live every single Wednesday at that time. I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken, right there. And, hey, maybe we have some pop-up streams. We're going to be talking about a subject in which, hey, if there's some really big announcements at that event, maybe I go live in that case. But happy to be on, and you know what? I don't know. MJ's got me thinking here. Maybe I'm going a little bit too blue right now. Let's see if I can lighten that up there.
He's just
there
like the master of lighting. I love it. I love that. Beautiful.
Love it. And this is what I also love right here. We got boom. Watch this. Check this out, folks. 568 subscribers. Make sure to turn that notification bell on, because if there is some breaking news tomorrow and he goes live right away, you want to get a notification. So subscribe and hit that bell like I did. See that? Watch it. Ooh. Oh, look at that.
Yes. Put it
right
on
there.
all.
Hit that thing. Look at this. 1.5 thousand views, watches. I was on this for about 5 minutes. So you go check that out.
Oh, yes. Amazing producer duties, by the way, by MJ, and some modding ability.
Right. MJ's crushing the comments.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys. This is too much. It's too late for all this flattery.
You know what? I think we got to give you $1,000 a month. Okay?
Oh my.
That's my
we will now be in negotiations. I appreciate that, Wizard. Now, on to the news.
Yes, we have some potential news here. So starting Monday. Where's Monday? King Kong here at Universal Studios Hollywood will be going under refurbishment, and there's a rumor out there that it could be switching from 3D to 2D. And it's funny, I just went on King Kong 2D at Islands of Adventure. I don't know what it was like beforehand, but it looked pretty decent to me. You guys have a lot more like scenes and screens out there, so I see how the 3D would probably make more of a difference. I feel like the 3D would be really good too, but you know what? I would be a little sad to lose this 3D on the studio tour if that was a thing, but I would also be happy to not carry the glasses for the whole 40-minute tram tour. So it kind of cancels out. I wouldn't really mind, but I can definitely see how people were upset over in Florida, because it really makes it. The one is a shorter ride, it's a standalone ride, and two, there's a lot more screens over there, a lot more scenes with screens, so I feel like it makes a lot more of a difference. But MJ, have you been on King Kong 2D over in Islands of Adventure? Oh, you're on mute.
I'm so silly. I'm learning to try to mute myself when other people are talking, because I tend to like make so many comments. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. So I'm like, let me just mute myself, and then when I'm called upon, I shall unmute. Okay. So I actually had that attraction as a backdrop for my background, because I love it so much. King Kong holds a really special place in my heart because Confrontation was a ride that I did a lot with my parents growing up in the 90s. And it was very, very dear to me, like I said. So when Islands had that King Kong attraction when it came up to the horizon, I was like, oh, I need to get on this ride. So I've just been going on it. Probably the first time I did it was when the girls were really little. Because I have two daughters that are 21 and 23. And it is late. And yes, they are adult children. So I'm like, wait, how old are they again? I think it was 2012. And then we did it last year. And I just love that attraction. It's fabulous. It's just great. Excuse me one second. I just need to get some water.
No.
Of course.
I actually do like King Kong Skull Island over there at Islands of Adventure. I think they rounded out the experience quite nicely from when they transported it over from the Hollywood original version. They had that intro scene and the end scene. Obviously, you have the amazing big audio animatronic
that was
King
cool.
Kong right there. Very, very cool. I love that right there. And the queue is also very, very nice.
Oh, the queue was stunning. And the show building, like the theming from the outside is
yeah.
pretty striking on the out, just walking around.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid attraction, I will say, for having had its origins as a pull-through experience on the studio tour over there at Universal Studios Hollywood. So pretty cool stuff right there. Getting back to Universal Studios' version of it, though, well, this is now the remaining 3D experience on this studio tour, as you know, Wizard. They got rid of Fast and Furious Supercharged, and it's like, well, not a big loss for sure, but now that it's the only 3D pull-through, it's kind of like, well, doesn't necessarily make sense to distribute these glasses in the form and fashion that they do, maintain those glasses, and then, just like Wizard actually said right there, you have to hold on to these for the entirety of the tour, which could be 45 minutes. And so maintaining this aspect for a 2-minute and some change pull-through experience like
according
this?
to my own POVs, it's 1 minute and 34 seconds exactly. So like 94 seconds, guys. And you have to hold the glasses for an hour. And they don't sit easily on your head either. You really have to just hold them in your hand.
Right. I can see why it just doesn't quite make sense. And, obviously they get lost. There's a certain amount of replacement that has to go into this. I'm sure, Wizard, when you look at other 3D attractions, in which people have to maybe hold on to them for maybe 10 minutes, right? And they mostly have them on their head for the duration of the entire attraction experience. I'm sure the replacement disparity there is much higher at an attraction like this. So I think it makes sense. Although I do worry about the erosion of Studio Tour pull-through experiences over there at Universal Studios Hollywood.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the type of 3D glasses is interesting. I don't know what type of 3D glasses they used over at Islands of Adventure, but here for Fast and Furious Supercharged and the King Kong, it was it's this very skinny, small 3D glasses. Whereas if you go on Transformers, you get the big, bulky, like like actual kind of expensive 3D glasses. It seems like it was like because it's made for the experience. Here they're kind of little cheap looking, and that's why they're hard to stay on, at least my head, because they are so thin. They're kind of wide, and my head dimensions don't really fit them, so I have to literally hold them in my hand, which can get again quite annoying, and they're easily losable if they slip out of the tram. So it makes sense to totally get rid of them here, although it will be a little sad. I do hope it looks good. Still, I think if it looks like Orlando's 2D, then I actually think the studio tour here is in pretty good shape because those screens look pretty good for 2D. When at least when I went like last weekend. But I just realized talking about this, Supercharged over there is in 2D too. I forgot. I just didn't have any glasses on my head when I went on the thing. And that
I didn't know it myself, actually.
looked a little better. I must say their version, the screen portion looked a little better than Hollywood's did when it was in 3D. So that's a plus for you guys. And you guys, Supercharged, they had a cool extra little scene too. I mean, Kong is better still over there, but it was very interesting. But yeah, I think it makes sense money wise, and I don't really think many people would care, or maybe a plus because they don't want to. Oh, there's the glasses on that person's head right there. On
There it
the
is.
Oh.
you saw how like it's not the expensive ones, kind of the cheap ones. So yeah, I think it'll be an overall win. But yeah, the overall erosion of the Studio Tour. Funny that we're on 6 points Texas here because half of that's now demolished. You know, yeah, the War of the Worlds area looking to have some changes there too. Supercharged gone, the Studio Tour shrinking, it seems. And so, Doctor, what do you think is the future of the Studio Tour here? At least in the immediate future, a little short. Huh?
It's getting shorter for sure. Just like Wizard pointed out there, 6 points Texas, a lot of those buildings, historic buildings that have been in plethora. I mean, I couldn't even count how many westerns that those classic facades had been in before their demolition recently. That's super sad to see, just from a cinematic standpoint, right? Just from a kind of a film historian standpoint. Not great to lose iconic structures like that, but obviously, right? It's like, how often are you going to use those sets? I think the last big production that I even saw some of those sets be used for were, I think, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's film. So it's like, okay, maybe it makes sense to move on from that. But like Wizard alluded to right there, the erosion of the tour, the shortening of the experience, I think is I certainly don't like it. I know a lot of Universal Studios Hollywood fans, though, who are looking for this park to grow, are very excited for new experiences, maybe encroaching on that backlot, right? And that's really the only place in this park that has the potential for meaningful expansion. Right? It's going to be within the backlot, or some of the sets or sound stages, I should say, down below, next to the existing lower lot portion of the theme park. So, like, it makes sense. It makes sense that some of these things are going away, and we haven't had a new pull through experience added to the tour since Fast and the Furious. We now have 2D. This kind of downgrade maybe of the King Kong experience. We've got Earthquake. Yes, came back from refurbishment, but I was surprised at how in rough shape it relatively was, given that it had just experienced the refurbishment. So I do wonder for the future of the tour what this experience looks like. We have seen surveys saying that, hey, would you pay a separate admission for the studio tour? I think that would be a bad call, but that might be because Universal might be not just weighing out whether or not this studio tour experience should be a separate ticketed event. They might be weighing out, Wizard, whether or not it's worth investing more in, right? If you have a separate gate, maybe perhaps you invest more in this experience. If people are unwilling to purchase into this separately, maybe it's not worth investing more money in. So that I think there's kind of a weighing here. And I think you have alluded to that this become maybe a VIP only experience. That is possible, I would say, especially if you can't maintain the length that this tour is known for.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see because I first timers, I always see them, right? First timers, and they're like, wow, and wow. So the first timers love it. And MJ, have you been on to California in general? And then 2, have you been to Disneyland or Universal in California?
I went as a very young, tiny tot.
Also, not enough to remember anything.
Not enough to remember, but my mom, she was a tour guide in Disneyland in the 70s, in the late 70s.
That's
And
cool.
she actually, I don't think she worked for Universal, but she was like obsessed with the backlot tour. And this woman probably rode on this thing probably every week after school. So I mean, I know enough about it. I just don't remember doing it, as an adult, but I really hope it doesn't go away. I think it's really nostalgic and it's amazing and it's so like old school, and I really hope they don't, just do off with that. I mean, it's just such a cool experience. I can see them revamping it a little bit. And I don't think it's worth a separate ticketed event. I think it should be included with your admission for the day. And that's just my opinion. I mean, look at how cool this is. You really feel like you're in the back of a film, of a behind the scenes movie. It's so cool.
Hmm. And if anyone's watching The Burbs on Peacock, it was filmed right here on a colonial shoot with Kiki Palmer. But MJ, we gotta get you out here. Let me buy your plane ticket. You'll get an email in a second. Ask Dr. Dre. He'll tell you all about it.
Gotcha.
Email's coming to the phone. I'll buy your plane ticket. We'll get you over to Disneyland and Universal, and I'll even throw you on some coasters and Six Flags if you want to do that.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing time.
Because Six
Fantastic.
Flags is like cheaper than your gas tank, so easy to get in there.
Yeah, you'll spend more gas and time in traffic getting over there than you would on the actual ticket itself. Yeah, that's probably true. By the way, Wizard, I don't know if you saw, but the fourth quarter reports were revealed from.
Oh
Six
yes,
Flags.
in fact, let's go. You saw that? Yes. Let's see here. That was I didn't get the gist of the fourth quarter. I what I got was one, they didn't acknowledge the Enchanted Parks trademark. I said we'll talk about that later. And two, they said attendance was down, but guest spending was up. I saw reporting. Is that right? What else did you get from that?
Okay, so per caps are up,
The per
right?
caps, yes,
So in
Yeah,
terms of like revenue, I heard they were down about $37
Mhm.
million or 5% compared to the fourth quarter of 2024. And then
Ooh,
I
wait.
guess they were down 13% or approximately 1.4 million visitors compared with the fourth quarter of 2024 as well. So yes, you do have, and look, we're seeing this with Disney, actually, not to this extent. I mean, this is really bad, but we're seeing the same trend, right? Which would be Six Flags making more off of less people.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good position to be in, especially when you have dwindling attendance and dwindling revenues. Okay, so Disney
Yeah, and
has
it's
been
not like
able
your
to
attendance was high to begin with, like Disney.
right, exactly, and so I mean, for Six Flags, they are, it mm, this is not a good place to be. I'm just gonna put that right out there because this is pretty tough right there. All right, I got a little package there for you. Six Flags. That I think this might be a sign, Wizard, of changing consumer sentiment around theme parks in general.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Universal and Disney have been able to overcome these changes and trends, but for the more affordable regional park, we've just seen an erosion in this industry on pretty much every level. I think what is it, United, who owns SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, I think has posted numbers, maybe not quite this bad, but they have suggested that there's been a downturn. Here, this is the kiss of death to have lower attendance and lower revenue. Like that's no good. And so yes, you can increase your per caps, which I guess is up 8% from last year's quarter four, but that only gets you so far. And especially when you compare it to the experiences on offer at Disney or Universal, it's like there is a ceiling for these regional theme parks, what they can spend and what they can price at separately. And look, it's no surprise that they're trying to get rid of some of those parks within the chain that aren't necessarily adding value for their bottom line. I think Wizard, I think it wasn't too long ago where Six Flags basically just came out and said, look, only a handful of the parks that we have out of the 40 or so that we have contribute 90% of the revenue that we post every single quarter. And I believe, Wizard, there has been some talk and suggestion about perhaps maybe them separating off some of these parks into their own separate entity, like a spinoff or so forth,
Yeah,
or
that
maybe even the
Enchanted
outright sale of them.
Parks. Yeah, that very interesting. And see, this is the thing. I feel like post pandemic area, right? I feel like people are really looking, just like with movies, actually. People show for the big event movies, right? And not just like
Good
these
point.
small, like mid-range movies, like Wuthering Heights or something. I mean, and that one, literally, Wuthering Heights, my wife said, "Oh yeah, can we see it in the theater?" Then like she saw the reviews or she saw some shit. No, maybe we'll just wait for streaming. People didn't seem to like it that much. I'm like, okay, we'll wait
She's
for it.
right. It was like a hot
It's not
topic.
good. Oh, okay.
No. It was a hot topic, and then
hmm
the reviews were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
meh." So yeah, it's probably watchable at home at this point.
yeah, and see the same thing. Like, especially look, you have Knott's Berry Farm's beautiful, but like Six Flags, you have Six Flags, and they have like roller coasters, and especially like Orlando and California. You know, MJ can vouch for Orlando, and Dr. Dre and I can vouch for California. We have like Goliath here, but like you have whatchamacallit, SeaWorld Orlando, which is cool, and you have different things in Florida. But when you have Universal and Disney now also building like roller coasters that are not just like kiddie coasters, but they're actually like actual big roller coasters. Like even in Hollywood here, right? You have Fast and Furious, Hollywood Drift, but then you can go right to Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey in this hyper immersive land right afterwards. Why would you go to Six Flags when you have that type of coaster right across from a super immersive land? You can get all in one. So I feel like they're really kind of drinking those regional parks as milkshakes. Even something like Cosmic Rewind, like Epcot. That's a pretty intense coaster for Disney, at least. And the door coasters, the suspended coaster. People were like, wait, I can get my coaster fix and my super theming immersive fix at Disney for a better experience, or Universal for a better experience, and a lot of higher price, but just overall better experience. You think that could be leading to the declining attendance as well? MJ or Dr. Dre.
Go ahead. I'll let Bash take over that one.
Well, no. I think you bring up a really interesting point right here. These kind of big event pictures, people going there to the theaters in order to see them almost exclusively. Yeah, we have seen that trend, and I think you might be right. In the minds of a consumer, it might be just, hey, if I'm going to spend this much, I might as well be paying this much for an experience that might be, I don't know, 10 times better, maybe, depending on who you are as a person and what you value, right? If you value entertainment, if you value immersive experiences, maybe you do place a higher emphasis on the big tentpole resort locations, that being Disneyland, Universal Studios Hollywood, Universal Studios Islands of Adventure, the Universal Studios Florida, Epic Universe, Disney World, etc. The interesting thing that we've also been seeing, Wizard, is that the only other regional theme parks that are doing very, very successfully, at least in my opinion, at least from what I've seen, maybe this has changed very recently.
I think I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going right here. Legoland.
That's right, Legoland. Another hyper immersive, or at least pretty themed park.
It's true.
It even got me and Liz to go, because she's I don't think she's ever been, or maybe she's younger, but went a couple years ago. So I'm like, let's go to Legoland. Like,
Do you guys have a Legoland in California, or
we
no?
do. Legoland,
Okay.
California. It's so nice. It's
Okay.
I think it's big. I think it's the biggest one. At least
I
in the
think so
United
too.
States.
I thought so.
So cool, because
Ours is so tiny here in
I
Orlando.
always loved the mini lands. So I was like, let's go see Mini Land. And I took her, and we had a good time. And obviously, I mean, the rides are geared towards younger folks, but even they have some pretty decent coasters there too. But we loved how themed it was. And I'm gonna go back, I think, for the new indoor Galactic coaster coming, because that's another indoor themed coaster. And I'll tell you, Legoland, maybe for little kids or whatever, but it's much more themed than what I'm looking at over here at Magic Mountain, and much more beautiful. Even if it's a higher price, about $100 a ticket or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's relatively high, right? But still, people are going, people are attending, people are really supporting those parks. And guess what? If we extrapolate this out and go back to Universal, what are they investing in? They're investing in, a plethora of theme park experiences, or maybe boutique experiences like the all-around Halloween Horror Night experience over there at Vegas and soon Chicago. But they're also spending money on a Legoland style park over there in Frisco, Texas. So it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, those are where the trends are. Those are where people are really really going towards, right? Are really investing their money in. And so I see that trend continuing. But extrapolating this out further, right? I do think that that physical experiences, especially with the onset of AI and other at-home technologies, I think themed experiences, stuff that can't be created in your living room, stuff that AI simply can't produce, at least physically, are going to be that much more important. And that might be why Josh D'Amaro has been selected as the new CEO of the Walt Disney Company. The board might be saying, look, we don't know what's going to happen to us as a legacy entertainment company. But if we are a theme park company, and well, I mean, if you check their quarterly earnings reports, yeah, they pretty much are, given that the theme parks have contributed to 70% of the operating income for the Walt Disney Company in every other quarter. Maybe we just focus on that, something that AI can't reproduce or take away from us. And so I think those will be much more important for the regular paying guests and so forth, which is why I'm a little surprised that Six Flags hasn't been able to figure this out. But we certainly see a trend here for consumers shifting away from these experiences to stuff like Disney and Legoland.
And MJ, Legoland, Florida, you said it was pretty small. When's the last time you went? Like, have you gone often, or
Oh.
have you just gone when the kids were tiny?
Yeah, so Corbin and Kelly are 11 and 7 now. I
Mhm.
want to say we took them back in 2022, because we did
Oh,
Peppa
so
Pig.
kind of recently.
Yeah, remember when Peppa Pig opened?
Yes, lucky.
What year was that?
lucky.
Was that 2022,
I think it was, I think it
2023?
was like somewhere around there. I think it was like
That's the last time we were up in that little area. It's tiny. It's cute.
20.
My son and my daughter love Legos, but we just haven't gotten around to like going all the time, like regulars. We probably could, but I mean, they're really into Universal and they're really, really stoked about Epic. So we're trying to hyper focus on that for now.
Oh, and they have a right to be. Oh
Yeah,
boy, what a
know.
place!
Yeah.
Now, would you
I
say?
was blowing up your phone. Are you crying?
I
I
know.
wanted a reaction out of you so
Funny.
bad, and you didn't give me the satisfaction. You're like, MJ, I am not crying.
But I wasn't. I was too busy smiling,
I know.
and I was like so distracted. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I was joking
Oh
because
my gosh.
everyone's reaction, all of our
Mhm.
all of the vloggers and the theme park enthusiasts and the roller coaster enthusiasts, they walk in and they're like boohoo crying. So
Mhm.
I was just joking
I
around.
must
I'm gonna
say,
cry.
I almost cried at the entrance. I was like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
only because I was like, "I'm finally here." It's like,
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's insane.
We got
But-
little visuals for you, so we can
oh,
relive
ooh,
your
yeah,
journey
more.
there, Wizard.
Oh yes,
Exciting.
Liz.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Oh,
When I
there
go
it
through
is.
that portal, I'm going to cry. I need a box of Kleenex ready.
Wow. I mean, look at this. I mean, I
Insane.
can't believe. Sad you guys couldn't make it, but boy, you gotta
all
go as
good.
soon as possible because look at this. Look at
amazing.
this. I was here approximately 6 days ago.
That's insane, right? How time goes by so quick.
I know. I took a
It's
picture
like
right
it's like you were just
there.
there. It's like you were just there. Did you go into the Helios or did you guys not have time?
Yeah, no, I wanted to, and then we went, but I had to go to the gift shop. It was like at 8:30, and they
Oh,
closed at
okay.
9. So I was like,
Okay.
I want to go to the gift shop and see the show.
Yeah.
So in front of the Helios, we're not in it, but I peeked inside the windows and it looked quite nice. I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
very nice." But yeah,
Is it? I
we
can't
also like right
believe that the
about here.
Helios doesn't have a spa. Is that true? I thought it was their like 5-star
Oh, like
resort.
resort spot?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of one having a spot. Let me check.
Yeah. I
Grand
wonder because it
Helios
needs a spa. I need a massage. I need to know.
Hotel.
Yeah, I have
Spa.
heard this as well, that it doesn't have a spa or some of those very
Okay,
upper end luxury experiences.
it says. Oh wait, hold on. I don't know. Should I trust the AI overview? It's the AI overview says it has a full service spa, but should
You
I trust
see?
the AI
I thought
overview?
that was strange that
Let's
someone
just
said
check
that
the
it
website
didn't,
itself.
because I'm used to like if I stay at like the Royal Pacific or those type of resorts, I'm used to being able to book a massage at the spa or go to the sauna and relax, or they usually have like a jacuzzi because moms need that kind of pampering after being at a theme park all day with the kiddos.
Let's see. It says a resort style pool, fitness center, game room, and more.
Oh, look at that.
Throughout the hotel, there are restaurant lounge options.
Mhm.
Okay, so the official Lowe's website doesn't mention a spa, but the
Well, you're the
AIOD mentioned a
expert, so
spa.
I would trust
This
you.
is interesting. I don't know. Ooh, that
Mm.
should be a good question. I don't
I mean,
know.
for $800 a night, you need to have a spa in there, I would think.
It would be. You'd think it would be in the hotel highlights section because they say resort style pool, fitness center, game room, and more. Maybe it's under and more.
And
I don't know.
yeah, could be.
It says relaxing views. Oh, interesting. I don't know. Do they have a spa? Maybe they don't. Oh
I see.
my.
That's crazy.
I see restaurants and lounges. I see pools and activities. That being the pool. There's like an arcade. There's a fitness center,
So
souvenir shop.
And
I
this is a
don't see
Lowe's
spa.
hotel, isn't it? This is a Lowe's signature hotel.
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
No, yeah. So under the amenities, I don't see a spa. See, so it's a pool, game room, fitness center. Yeah. The store, no spa.
I vouch for the moms out there. Go to the Royal
maybe-
Pacific and get a massage.
Maybe it's coming later. Who knows?
Coming soon.
Coming
Just like-
I guess that's something they can add. Can build later. Expansion.
Look at
As
that
a spa.
carousel. Look at that carousel. Are you serious?
Okay, now this is interesting. This
Amazing.
carousel. Oh, we wrote at night, just like this. So the whole thing spins. Now I knew the whole thing spun, and there's like 3 little circles, and little things spin. But what I didn't know is that the whole thing goes backwards. I was like, oh, we're going backwards. It goes forwards
That's
and
so
backwards.
Amazing.
And all the little creatures, there's like different celestial music playing. And all the creatures like dance to the music, and that's why you're going forwards and backwards and swing. I
That's
didn't
so
expect that to
cool.
happen. I was like, that's crazy.
It's wild.
Like, this is not a carousel. This is a ride.
They
like-
need to. How are they going to beat the carousel at Epic, the one that's being built over at Tropical Americas?
Oh,
How are they?
well,
How are they going to top? How are they going to top that? Like,
Oh, that'll be just like a little baby one. Like little.
Uh-huh.
not gonna. It's not gonna.
Yeah, it'll
top
just be like a normal
no way.
carousel, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
want
that's
beautiful. This carousel.
That's the weird thing about Disney and their new carousels. They put a lot of emphasis on the creatures that you can actually sit on, which I suppose is worth doing. But in terms of actual experience, it's pretty traditional, right? Universal here, they did something very, very different. And so, to be honest, MJ, and I guess that kind of segues us a little bit, but I just don't know if I have the faith in Imagineering to really take it home for us. I'm
Yeah,
hoping so.
It's interesting
Not
because
sure.
like this carousel, I mean the creatures looked beautiful as well, but also, whatchamacallit, they each like so there's the big things, the like benches that you can guys sit on. 2 people can sit on, but what I didn't know is each like horse is like a different creature, but it has 2 seats, so you and your partner, whoever, can sit behind each other. I was like,
I love
oh,
that.
that's
That's
so
such a
every-
nice thing.
every seat, whether you're on the horse style thing or just the bench, has 2 seats, which is great for capacity, and 2 is great for riding with somebody. And they ask if you want to ride together or separate, but I was like, what do you mean together? I was like, oh, this thing has 2 seats, and they all light up. So I mean,
So nice.
come on, Disney, you can make the creatures nice, but also enhance the experience.
That's right.
Just a little bit more.
That's right.
But Stardust Racers, I didn't go on this, but Elizabeth did, and she confirmed, or at least in her opinion, that the gold/green side is a little bit more intense. But she
Oh.
really enjoyed both. She said that
Oh,
this
she
side
went on
is a little-
both. How brave woman she is.
I know
Love
she-
her. I love her.
She was nervous, and she went off, and she got off, and she was like, "Oh my god, that was so great!" And the line was 10 minutes or like 20 minutes, so she went right on again the other
That's
side.
great.
And she said this side was only a little more intense because on the celestial spin, when you go into it, it's a little more intense. But other than that, it's about the same experience.
Look at that.
And but look at this.
It's beautiful.
This is was this a
Another
city-
body
is
of
this a-
water.
is this
Can
a
you
city
imagine?
park, or is this a theme park? Are we in Orlando downtown, or are we like in can't tell.
I mean, Mark,
I told Elizabeth, I said, if you take out all the rides and everything, this would be nicer than most city parks in the United States. I mean, look at this. It's gorgeous.
Well, in my understanding that the people from Vegas did that fountain in that pond area. No.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
they did.
hmm
Which
Every
is,
part,
see it all
every
light
theme
up in
park,
there.
every good theme park needs to have a body of water
Yeah,
Are
for
and this one
kinetic
has
energy.
many.
It just needs to have a body of water. I'm so sorry.
you saying Magic Kingdom is not a good theme park?
I'm saying that it's deteriorating slowly.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you guys saw, but when Drew posted, he tweeted. He sent his video like, I'm at Disneyland, and where was he? He was on the Mark Twain. So, take that, Magic Kingdom.
Absolutely insane.
It's
Yeah.
really interesting. It's really interesting that he
He's
would
on
put
the
that out
top
there.
level Mark Twain, and he specifically pointed to the river. I was like,
Yeah.
look at that.
Throwing shade.
Look at
Yep.
that. But since here at Epic, my favorite rides. Already, guys.
Ready. I'm ready. Yes. I
Number
want to
one.
know. I need to know.
Number one, I'd have to say was Monsters.
Okay.
Number two, Hiccups. Oh, love that thing.
Was this so good? Oh my God. I can't wait.
Rode it at that one. I rode at night and in the day.
Good for you.
Incredible at nighttime. Both times, my favorite part. My favorite part on one of my I think out of any coaster now is when we dive under the bridge, go over the water and dive over the bridge. Oh, that part is chef's kiss, guys. Chef's
Cool.
kiss.
Can't wait.
Number
Very good.
3, Donkey Kong. I love that thing. Sure, it's a little rough, but I love
Is it
that
as
thing.
rough as Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom, or is it less bumpy? Because
Well,
Dinosaur in
assuming
Animal Kingdom is like really, really
assuming
bumpy.
Dinosaur has the same
the same
moves as
question.
Indiana Jones. Like, does it have? I don't know if it has the same exact roughness as Indiana Jones,
Okay.
but it's hard because Indiana Jones isn't like rough to me. So, or
Okay.
aka Dinosaur. So I would say Donkey Kong's rougher, but
Okay.
but it's hard because I don't know. You're in like a Jeep and Indiana Jones, and you're bouncing around. But yeah, maybe it's the same. Well, if you're sitting on the corner of Indiana Jones, then it's probably the same as Donkey Kong. But if you're sitting in the middle, then it's probably Donkey Kong a little more, I think. But I also noticed it's rougher on Donkey Kong if you're sitting in the front versus up above on the back. Because it
Okay.
wasn't rough to me in the back. It's only when I sat in the front for the night ride that it was like, oh, this is rough.
I'll put the children in the front. Thank you.
Yeah, and then it's only rough, not even the whole time. It's just on the 2 drops and the launch and the drop. Anytime you're going down, and yeah, really anytime you're going down, it's just a literally feel like a little boom, boom, boom.
hmm A little jerky. hmm
And yeah, and then on the big drops, then it's kind of like a little rough, but really mostly in the front. Then my other favorite ride after that was Ministry. My wife did that.
Interesting.
Could be very nauseating to people, it seems. I mean, I totally get why, but I really liked that one. It was so cool. And that one was so smooth to me. It was not rough. Liz said it was rough, but I thought it was so smooth. So I guess it really depends on what your intensity level is or what you're feeling. But I don't know. She rode Stardust Racers and that didn't do anything. So I guess it really depends. But beware, if you don't like motion sickness, Ministry could really get you. It's all screens, but it's so fun to me. I really enjoyed it. I've heard the corners on that one are the most intense, and we were in a corner, so maybe if we're in the middle, she would have been fine. But I thought I had a good time. But like that was really impressive. It's hard to explain how impressive it is. Just
Yeah.
technology wise, but it's really impressive. It's like tall, goes on forever. Like if you look down, I guess the Pepper's ghost like effect just goes on forever. The mirrors and like whoa, it's like you're really there. Like pretty
I'm
insane.
going to cry when I go into that attraction. I do want you to understand that.
Oh, I
'Cause I am
better
a
see you crying on the
diehard
picture.
Harry Potter. I watch the films every year, like the whole saga. I love Harry Potter, and I fell in love with it. I think it was when 2003, 2004, Kiana learned how to walk with the first film, the Sorcerer's Stone.
Aw.
That's how dear this franchise is to me. Like, I raised the girls literally just on, watching those films and being such a diehard Harry Potter fan. When I walked into Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley, I lost it. And I know I'm going to lose it when I go to Ministry of Magic. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
You're gonna what? Oh yeah, I saw that.
McSteamy is dead.
Ooh.
McSteamy.
I just know it's the guy from Euphoria.
McSteamy. Tell the chat that McSteamy is dead.
Who is that?
McSteamy.
Eric Dane passed away from his LAS, and that's very unfortunate. R.I.P. Eric. I only know him from Euphoria, but apparently he's McSteamy somewhere.
Oh, Alan will be devastated.
Who?
Is this like breaking news?
He's on
Is Alan
Grey's
on the
Anatomy.
chat?
That's
Is
right.
Alan there?
No, Alan's not here, but yes, he's on Grey's Anatomy. That's why.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, Eric Dane, he's an X-Men, I think I saw, and some other stuff. But R.I.P. man. Let's see.
wow.
Fire Drill was closed when I went. Still closed. They have some water pump issues. Mario Kart I have here, so I didn't even bother. And it's funny. I like it more here than I like it there, simply because the collection of rides is different. So the rankings will be different. But I imagine it's the same exact thing. But I do like Men in Black more than Mario Kart after going on the same style of thing both.
That's interesting.
Really don't like wearing the glasses, and I like Men in Black has a lot more animatronics. You can actually look at them and enjoy. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. I'm trying to think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think. Oh, Curse the Werewolf. I didn't go on because of the spinniness. But Liz won a Curse the Werewolf 2 times.
Hey, she's my kind of lady. I like it.
Spinning, and not nauseous from that, but Ministry gave her nauseous. That's so weird to me. But
That is so wild.
different. I guess it must be different sense or something. Because she's totally fine. She's like, I love it. I'm like, but Ministry didn't do nearly as much as weird. But I thought, okay. But the circus show was fantastic. There's a lot of puppetry there and like live actors talking to the screens, like looked like they were really there. Super cool. And Trainable Dragon was awesome with Toothless flying over my head 2 times, by the way. 2 times in the show.
I'm gonna cry at that one.
And that one, I didn't realize it was like a musical, but it was a musical and they were singing pretty good too. With some massive puppets and theaters, the shows were full and people were clapping in both of them. So I think people really enjoyed both of them. So shout out to Live Entertainment. Now, come on, put some in Islands of Adventure because
they just need to have
nothing in Islands of Adventure.
pillars everywhere.
Yeah, and then you have epic stuff. So come on, Islands. I'm sure it's getting some show. I saw the stage. It's sitting right there behind Spider-Man, or behind Toon Lagoon. So I'm sure they'll get something. But shout out to Live Entertainment. Where are you? Hyperion, empty.
I ask these questions all the time. Nobody wants to provide me an answer.
and
it's
Disney
like,
World has what? Disney World itself, I think, only has a couple shows in the whole resort. Weird.
Yeah, a lot of them at Disney Studios. Some of them at Animal Kingdom as well, in order to help run out your day there. But that's another thing. The erosion of live entertainment, not so good, especially at Disneyland. What is going on?
And it's a good segue. We're going to go over to a big media event tomorrow at DCA. Now, Dr. Vash Guy is going to take over for a few minutes because I have to use the Banyo.
When nature calls.
Tell everyone about DCA's big event tomorrow for 25th anniversary. And what you expect, and I'll chime in.
Yeah, so as you can see, MJ, we're talking about right here, Avatar, right? That's going to be coming to Disney California Adventure, or at least supposedly it is. And that's really been one of the big open questions. Now that we have the box office returns for Avatar's most recent theatrical entry, Fire and Ash, coming in at maybe a little bit below expectations at $1.4 billion, there is some questions as to whether or not this project actually goes through. Remember, this project has its origins with Bob Iger coming back to the CEO ship. That would have been, December of 2022 or thereabouts. And at the first earnings call back, that would have been February of 2023, he says, hey, we're doing Avatar at Disneyland. That's what he said right there. I think he maybe used Avatar Experience. So that had a lot of people wondering like what that experience was going to be. I actually heard it from somebody who I have much respect for say, it's just going to be a meet and greet. And it's like, I don't think so. I don't think you have Bob Iger, the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, coming out there in a big earnings call, the first one back, hyping up a meet and greet. It just doesn't quite sit well with me anyway, or at least it didn't. And as we started getting more information about this, it was like, oh, okay, this is going to be pretty big, ambitious. We're going to get a boat ride for this attraction. Great. It's also going to go in DCA. And it was kind of like, don't quite see how it fits in there. But let's be honest, Disney California Adventure really needs those attractions, right? It needs more. It sits right across the street from, a 70-year-old park that has had all of these attractions and all of these developments. A huge attraction count. DCA simply can't compete. And a lot of people, they end up skipping DCA if they don't have the park hopper option. So giving even more reason to go over to Disneyland's sister park is a good win in my book. Boat ride, something it doesn't have, good. But now here's the problem, MJ. It's one of the last attractions DCA will be getting from this, first wave of the $60 billion tranche of funding that has been set aside for the theme park division. And that's got a lot of people concerned because of how far away in the future it is. Maybe, perhaps, we don't end up getting that attraction, especially now that we have a new CEO. That's why I brought up the whole history of this attraction, because this was Bob Iger's baby.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Josh D. Morrow. Bob Iger was under a lot of pressure to justify this $70 billion acquisition of Fox, especially with Nelson Peltz and everything else. It was like, why did we acquire so many, such a big company for such a high price tag? What are we getting for it? And it was like, no, we're getting a lot for it. And here's one of these ways that we are going to capitalize on this purchase. We're gonna fling out this flywheel as broad as we can do it, and that's going to be via an attraction at Disneyland Resort. Okay, fair enough. But now Josh is coming in here, MJ. And he doesn't have the same baggage, maybe, Bob Iger did justify his purchase here. He also is a consumer products guy, somewhat, right? Because of the combination of consumer products and the Disney Parks and Resorts division, right? To make the experiences division. He understands what sells, what moves, what people are interested in from a buying perspective. And when it comes to these big theme park lands, if you don't move merch, you basically don't get in. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. Are they going to still go forward with Avatar? That's the question.
That's a huge question, because the merch doesn't move. The films are not really rewatchable, if you will. Maybe
Right.
the first one. When you go to Pandora in Animal Kingdom, it's a lovely area, but it's just the lack of maintenance makes it not so enjoyable, because there's so many things that you're supposed to be able to interact with and you cannot, because they don't function like they're supposed to. And they're not doing anything about it. And I'm not seeing, as a mom with kids, I'm not seeing anybody anybody wearing like the shirts or the tails or the merch isn't moving. So yeah, it's a huge question. Are they going to move forward with this thing? Is it even that popular to have a whole land? But that park does need something, right?
It needs something like this. It absolutely does. It needs something that's a little bit more naturalistic. And a boat ride experience is desperately needed. I understand we're getting one with Coco, and from what I understand, it's still on the table. But for Avatar, I mean, there have been some questions, especially because Monsters Inc. And we'll go ahead and bring back Wizard in here. Monsters Inc. was supposed to, I can select the rescue, that is, that attraction that's going to be, removed for this Avatar experience, was supposed to be announced the closure date, in late 2025. That never came. Also, too, this whole expansion of DCA northward from Hollywoodland is predicated on the parking structure. Now, we did just get a permit filed to remove a building that might be in the way of that parking structure. And so, good, we're moving on that. But that's, when they start on that, that's 18 months, at least from that point.
Wow.
And, that's additional time we have to wait for Avatar to be built when that's finally finished.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of time for Disney to get cold feet, potentially. Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is there's going to be a media event, Wizard, celebrating Disney California Adventure's 25th anniversary.
Oh.
And that goes, yes, which is very cool. This is the park that, didn't get a great shot at life, but
The little park that could.
The little park that could, that's right. And it is a fan favorite to those locals who have fond memories at that park.
Can you give me, I'm sorry, I didn't know you guys were getting Coco. When is that?
It
yes.
is now, and it's kind of under construction. The actual ride isn't under construction just yet, but what they're doing is they're building a fence to move the Disneyland park boundary closer to Disneyland Drive, so they have more room to build Coco. So I'm sure that's part of the project, but it's going to be like a small. What has been described to me as about the same. It's going to be in between the sizes of the Tangled ride at Tokyo Disney Sea and like something a little bigger than that. Something in the middle of that and something like a little bigger.
I've
And
heard
so like
the
a small, yeah, like that one, that Mexican ride at Coke up at Epcot there.
Oh, the Three
Okay.
Caballeros in the
Yeah.
Mexican pavilion
So
at
it'll be like a
Epcot.
nice,
Okay,
Where you
gotcha.
get
like
that
it'll
sample.
be like
Gotcha.
a no height requirement family ride, which California Adventure obviously really needs because they don't really have many of those. So it would be quite nice. I'm excited for the Coco ride, thank goodness. And it's perfect for California Adventure because it fits in the whole Mexican culture, California. But I'm very curious with the Avatar if they continue with that. During this media event, do you think they'll hint or propose a name change to the park?
Mm.
Oh, a name change. Yeah. So that's been discussion for a while because, Disney California Adventure. Maybe not the best decision in the world to theme your big theme park, especially for such a locals driven market around California. I understand the thinking, right? It was like, okay, and this is literally the thinking from Disney, just so that everybody's aware. It's like, okay, people are visiting, they are spending less time at Disneyland to visit other places in California. So they're visiting like the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. They're visiting the Palace of Fine Arts. They're visiting, Hollywood down I-5 and all of that, right? Okay. I guess the 5. Why don't we just bring these experiences to Disneyland Resort? And that way people can get a flavor of California from Disneyland Resort and we can extend their vacations that way. That was literally the design conceit behind Disney California Adventure, or as it was known that time, Disney's California Adventure. They dropped the S in 2012. But yes, so it's like, okay, if we want to make this a destination resort, this is what we're going to do. That did not turn out that way at all. And so it was very cheaply built. I mean, I think if I remember correctly when I was doing the math on all of this, I think the Grand Californian Resort Hotel and Spa was maybe as much as the theme park itself. That's how little that's how little they applied to it, which is really sad. So it has been built over immeasurably since 25 years ago when it opened. And trust me, folks, it was rough. But we now have Cars Land, we now have Adventures Campus, we now have Pixar Place, I guess. Maybe that's what
Is it like the one?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
like the one we have here in Hollywood
Pixar Pier.
Studios? Oh, you have Pixar Pier.
Yeah, we have Pixar Pier. So we have like
Yes,
four
Pixar
different
Pier, yeah.
neighborhoods. So there's like it's the whole Piers of Land, and in the land there's the Incredibles neighborhood, the Toy Story neighborhood, the Inside Out neighborhood,
Oh.
another neighborhood that I forgot. But that's where Coco's going on the
Yes.
very end of
That's where
okay.
Coco's going.
Thank you. But
And it's
how
going
big
in
is
like this.
Pixar's Pier? Is it like Pixar Place, like the one we have in Hollywood Studios here, or is it bigger and better?
No, it's technically bigger. I don't know if it's better, but it's bigger.
Okay, so Pixar Pier, right? And if I
Yeah.
get some B-roll, I'll go ahead and slip it in real fast. But the idea behind Pixar Pier was that it's rebranded off of what used to be their Paradise Pier, right? And they didn't change all that much. But Paradise Pier was supposed to harken
Which
to like
itself
the
got
Santa Monica.
rebranded or enhanced from version 1 in 2001.
Yes. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It was supposed to evoke like Santa Monica Pier or the great pier side attractions and amusement spaces
Yeah,
that
like
used to
Santa
exist.
Cruz type of situation. Yeah, long.
Right.
With that, yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's a choice that you could make in order to fit in many off-the-shelf type attractions. And I believe the only custom attraction there, at least when it opened, was California Screamin'. That was the Intamin coaster that they put in. And yeah, it's a solid coaster, I will say, but it's very unthemed, and so was everything else around it. And by the way, do you remember this, Wizard? I don't know if you do. Back in DCA 1.0, back 25 years ago, there was a lot of like puns that used to be featured in all of these different places. Like Mala burritos. You can get a burrito there on the pier. Pizza Mau Mau was one of them. Mulholland Madness, the kind of little wild mouse coaster they used to have there. Obviously, Mulholland Drive, right? There's like a lot of. They try to imbue it with California,
and even California Screaming, right? Play on California Dreaming,
Yes.
Hilarious. And by the way, MJ, that whole pier in DCA 1.0, that whole pier was like all the rides. So the rest of the park was like not rides. And that was one of the problems. I mean, there's like Soarin' and Grizzly River, but most of the rides were concentrated in this area. And as Trey said, they're mostly like off the shelf things like swingers and the fair. One of the Ferris wheels, big at least, but that was one of the problems with it. It was like shops and food, but no real rides. So then they quickly, I think in 2002 is when Bugs Land opened, because like, wait a second. Now also there's no kids rides at all. Like everything in the pier is like, except for maybe one thing, is not for children. So they're like, okay, let's put Bugs Land in here. 2002 to get the kids rides, because kids are going to Disneyland. They can't go to California. You can't sell a park hopper if you have a kid, because there's no rides with them. So they did that. Then in 2004 it was Tower of Terror. That's when that came, and the budget version. And then Superstar
not the
Limo
deluxe.
Not the deluxe Hollywood Studios. Not that one. We have like the budget version, which now Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a better attraction and good use of that space. Thank you, Joe Rody. But yeah, Superstar Limo was I forgot that existed, because it was talk about an attraction so bad. I know the Universal creative people apologize for Fast and Furious Supercharged, but Disney should apologize for Superstar Limo. That's what they really should have done.
And there are some notorious stories around that time too. Like the park had no money to develop any of these attractions, and Superstar Limo was going to be their only dark ride on opening day. So it was something that they wanted to get right. The initial idea was, okay, let's make it like the wild, like there were concepts back in 55 for a more aggressive Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, right? It was supposed to be almost like an indoor coaster, if you can think about that. And so it was like, okay, let's go ahead and do something like that. And then let's make every single guest that goes in there the celebrity, right? And let's say, hey, you're getting into your limo, going to, the premiere of your big movie or whatever, and let's have the paparazzi follow you.
Does that sound familiar?
Right.
Do a much
Obviously.
better attraction at Hollywood Studios. Yes.
True, but it was also very close to the passing of Diana, right, Princess Diana, and so it was like, okay, can't do that, so let's go ahead and make it as slow as possible, and go with something that is a little bit more comic booky, and let's go ahead and imbue a bunch of celebrities because Michael Eisner, he really thought that if an attraction has a celebrity, it will maximize its appeal. So let's go ahead and put every single ABC celebrity that we possibly could in this thing. And then, since we have no money to do any of this, what they told a lot of contractors was, oh, okay, like we are thinking about going with various contractors for the installation of attractions for Imagineering. We want you to demo your fabrication skills and so forth on a room here at our Superstar Limo attraction. They would do that 6 times, 9 times, however many times they need to do that in order to fill out these rooms. And that's Superstar Limo. So sometimes you'd go through a scene and maybe the art style would change just a little bit. And it's like, that's weird. It's almost like they were made by 2 separate people. They were. So it's like,
That's why, yeah.
It was rough. Okay, if you've ever seen any video of Superstar Limo, it definitely leaves an impression. And even when Twilight Zone Tower of Terror was opening up and the park needed all the capacity it could possibly get in order to hold as many people as possible for that attraction, Matt Ouimet, I think at the time, said, hey, let's go ahead and go in Superstar Limo and just kind of see whether or not it's going to be an attraction that we can reopen, because it had closed, I think, after one season at Disney California Adventure because it was so embarrassing. Matt Ouimet rid the attraction, I think, maybe 3 years later, I suppose, and it was like, no, there's no way. There's absolutely no way we can open this attraction up. And eventually, when around the time that Pixar was acquired by the Walt Disney Company, that's when they rebranded Superstar Limo finally to Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue. And that's the plot of Land now, in which Avatar might sit later, which is very, very interesting. Maybe they ship out some of those things, those assets, right, over to Disney Hollywood Studios for its upcoming Monsters Inc. attraction.
I think
Not
so.
sure.
I think so. I have a hunch. But I will be leaving now, gentlemen. It is way past my bedtime. And, I have to wake up at 6 with the kids.
Oh, hey, enjoy. Thank you for joining. Make sure to
Thank you, MJ.
Call it.
Thank
Follow
you for
MJ
having
magically
me.
at magically with 1L on MJ at 1L everywhere. And hey, tell those children we say good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
Thank you,
have
MJ.
a good
Very
night,
much
guys.
appreciate it.
I love being
We'll
here
see you
with
later.
you guys. Have a great night. I'll see you guys real soon.
Yes, but oh no,
We will see MJ very shortly, I am sure. But yes, so you had all this stuff going on, and it was a tumultuous time for DCA until, and I will give Bob Iger credit, he did approve for that entire park to be transformed, right? And I think with John Lasseter at the helm right there of creative, it was like, let's go forward and really do this park right. And they imbued, $1.2 billion into the park, which was, I think, double. Over double the initial investment for that theme park. So it got a lot of love. That's where we see Cars Land. That's where we see, the rebrand of Paradise Pier, as we alluded to before. That's where we see Buena Vista Street. Remember, it didn't have really a grand entrance before
it was
that one.
We got that massive postcard type entrance that was I feel like that was a good idea if you're looking outside the park. When
Yeah.
you're in it doesn't really work out that well.
No, it's just a little too esoteric, right? With theme parks, you got to be kind of obvious, right? You can't hide the ball like that. And so, when you were walking up, and here's the thing, Wizard, you had to be in a certain place in the Esplanade this area between both Disney California Adventure and Disneyland to even get the impression that it was a postcard. And so would people see that? No, they, as soon as they're coming out of the gates there, you can see what exists now. As soon as they're coming out of the security area, which, by the way, that wasn't originally a 2001 intent, right? Wouldn't be installed until later that year. We know why. It's like, okay, let's go ahead and take that hard left or right, depending on which side you're coming in on, and then you're in. So you never got that postcard experience. It's very bizarre. But we got Buena Vista Street with that 2012 redo. We also, at the very start of that, got Toy Story Midway Mania. I guess it's fitting now since Toy Story 5 trailer is out. But Toy Story Midway Mania was kind of the start of, hey, we are relaunching this thing and we're going to be doing quality attractions from here on out, which is good. But Wizard, do we think...
Then they went to Web Slingers, so what happened?
Oh, yeah. Why'd you bring it up, Wizard? I was so hyped. I was so ready. No, we got Little Mermaid, right? Which, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay for what it is. But certainly, I think a lot of people have been, this is always the park that has to grow. It's
That's right.
It's never one thing.
I'm glad. One thing with the Avatar and the Coco, at least if the Avatar still comes in, at least Coco. I ended the Cars Land because I hope, and that's why I'm so glad that if Cars is going anywhere, it is going to the Magic Kingdom, and even if it's an unfortunate place, because I always felt like California Adventure is, always kind of like a mix of Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and not really. I feel like it's not really its own unique thing. You can point things like, oh, this is at Epcot. This is like if Rock and Roller Coaster were to go in. Or where to go where Superstar Limit was, would have been almost the exact same setup and distance as Hollywood Studios. I'm like, what's this copy and paste, And then they have the same entrance as Hollywood Studios, and I love this entrance. But I was like, I love California Adventure so much. I wish it can become like unique. That's why I love Buena Vista Street so much, because like no other Disney park has a Buena Vista Street like
yes.
That, right? And Cars Land looks great, and if Radiator Springs Racers were to go in Hollywood Studios, I'd be so sad. I'm like, come on, you're just taking away our own thing,
Mm-hmm.
And Pixar Pier, for what it is, it's still unique. So,
it's still unique.
Still is, and it's cool to have the Epcot, the festivals going on there. But, it's really like on the rise. I hope it separates itself from Hollywood Studios. With these new additions, it seems like it's going farther and farther away. But I was like, just don't just copy and paste them. I know they even have a California Adventure billboard in Hollywood Studios, and that's how on the point it is.
Yeah, I know. We did get. I mean, when Disney California Adventure first opened, there was a lot of duplicates, right? We got a duplicate of Muppet Vision 3D. We got a duplicate of Bug's Life, which I guess wasn't an opening day attraction technically, but it was pretty soon added to the attraction roster right there. We, I think Soarin' was like the only thing that was unique to DCA when it first opened, and it was so good it got duplicated in other places. Otherwise, we basically got all the hand-me-downs, including Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. It's like we get that attraction, which everybody was like really, really excited for, and then people wrote it and went, "Oh, this is the cheap version, isn't it? Just like this park." Okay, thank you for solidifying that in my mind. I do appreciate that. But they did spend the money. Oh, the one last thing that they spent money on with that 2012 redo was giving this a park an actual nighttime show.
Yes, thank goodness, World of Color. Yeah, that's a big addition.
Yeah, because when this park opened, it didn't have any nighttime entertainment to speak of, and that was really sad because you had the fireworks across the way at Disneyland. That was really sad. They tried with Luminaria. That was going to be their first Christmas season right there, and it was a fireworks display out there in the Paradise Bay. Mm-hmm. And there were tons of problems with that. I mean, the most of which was when you have a fireworks display in the area, the smoke just kind of it swirls around this bowl.
Mhm.
It doesn't really dissipate. And so by the time you're into minute 4 of launching all these fireworks, nobody can see anything. That's and that's most of the nights out there. So it was really bad. They went and it wasn't really set up to have a nighttime show necessarily. Then Steve Davison comes back after Luminaria and it's like, okay, let's go ahead and do World of Color. We've learned from our past mistakes. Let's go ahead and make it better, and that's where World of Color comes from. And it's an amazing display.
It's semi-related because this park always had a body of water, but just got the show many years later. Do we think the same thing? Because I was thinking the same with like Islands of Adventure in Orlando. I was like, wow, it's a beautiful body of water, and there's this one part in Two Lagoon where it's kind of relaxing. You just hang out and look at Velocicoaster and look around. And I was like, man, this would be a great spot to watch a show at night.
Right.
So since they have a bigger body of water than California Adventure does, do you think a nighttime show can be possible there in the future? Do you think it will happen? Because I feel like that would be a great candidate for Islands of Adventure to be just the best park it could be.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's the one big knock on that specific theme park, especially when you compare it to the other two, is that it doesn't have pretty much any entertainment to speak of. It doesn't really lend itself towards a parade, and I don't know if it ever has in its history. I thought that Lagoon played host to some type of production before, but maybe that was just for special events. It is very unfortunate that park doesn't have anything. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything stopping Universal from installing something there. We certainly saw that with Disney did it twice basically with the Epcot Lagoon recently. So we know it's possible, not more than once, fellas. But when it comes to Islands of Adventure, I think the two things it needs is really just entertainment in general, but from that, a nighttime show and also kind of a stage show. I think that it would benefit from that. It did have Sinbad there for a little while, but
because it has
it's been different
infrastructure
a
for
while.
both of those things.
Yes, it does.
Just
It's
sitting
kind of
there.
like just
Like
sitting
Disney
there.
with the Hyperion Theater, just sitting there. Yeah.
Right. And hopefully, if you do install something in there in that central lake, right, you do it in a way that allows for Velocicoaster to still remain open. I think that's crucial.
And Hulk too, because I know that goes over the lake too.
Yeah. That's true. And maybe you do it kind of 360 where it doesn't. There's no central focal point. You can just kind of see it from all
You can
around.
see it
That's the way I
all
would
over
do
the
it.
park. That way, it's kind of spreads out the crowds. No one's
Right.
packing into one spot because you can see it all over the place. Like with Epcot, you can kind of see it all over or at least most of the World Showcase. And just like with Paris, their new shows, it seems like it's being designed for see it no matter which part of the Adventure Bay you're on. Oh, what a terrible name, Adventure Bay.
That's one of the downsides of DCA's World of Color, right? Is this was at a point where Steve Davison was very focal point driven. It's like you want to see it from this spot, and that really created chaos over there at Disneyland with their 50th anniversary fireworks package that they had, but it also caused a little bit of chaos over there at World of Color. But it did accomplish its goal, right? The goal was keep people in this park longer, because DCA, when it first opened, you could basically fire off a cannon over there at certain areas of the Paradise Bay Lagoon around there, right? Or Paradise Pier, I should say. And you wouldn't hit anybody. And which was really sad because this place really did light up at night. And yet nobody was actually taking advantage of that. Now, with World of Color, people actually end up staying. The same can't be said for like Animal Kingdom's Rivers of Light, right? People didn't necessarily stay for that experience. Didn't last too long in that venue and so forth. Hopefully we do get a nighttime entertainment spectacular in there and can extend hours, but that's one of the reasons why that park has short hours that it has, is because nobody is in there. It's not worth it for the company to stay open that late. Yes, and John MKI Train in the chat right there saying
Yes.
need to reopen the Hyperion Theater. I agree. Hyperion Theater is so important for this park. Wizard. I cannot understate that enough. It is extremely important that DCA be rounded out with its low attraction count by entertainment experiences.
Yeah, and especially with all these new attractions coming in, bring even more people in to the park. So they'll need to go. It'd be nice to have somewhere something to take, increase the capacity, and take all those people off the walkways when they're done waiting in line for the attractions. So hopefully they'll get something in there. Maybe if Josh can prove he's a different CEO and really cares about the parks, maybe he'll put some in there and
Maybe.
direct them. Because I'm very curious.
But do we?
There?
And there's reason for that, right? Because remember, a lot of people say, well, Josh D'Amaro, it's kind of like Bob Chapek coming in there, right? He came from the parks, now CEO, bada bing, bada boom. But Bob Chapek, you have to remember, the last 5 years of his career was he even in the parks division at all. Previous to that, his entire length, he was at consumer products. And by the way, he was such a consumer products guy. What did he do when he was transferred to Disney's Parks and Resorts? He merged consumer products with Parks and Resorts, creating the Parks Experiences and Products division, now just Disney Experiences. Josh D'Amaro, he starts up his career in 1998 at Disneyland, and then, climbs up that corporate ladder, if you will, within the Parks division, and now is the CEO from that. So for his entire 28 years of being at Disney, he has been just at Parks. So there is optimism on that level. That being said, though, some of the worst aspects that we associate with the parks in this current era, Josh D'Amaro has been in the head of all of those things. It's kind of like, I'm optimistic, but I'm also a realist as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting there. So it should be a good, hopefully I'm hoping a good package, good announcement package tomorrow. I assume it'll be in the morning, but and I know all the folks got a tour of the place to WDI today, so very curious. Fingers crossed that we get some good updates. Because come on, California Adventure's birthday, you can't just disappoint it on its birthday, man. Like,
I would hope not.
I know. Gosh, I'm a little nervous. And lastly for today, look at this. We have a transit solution potentially for Universal Orlando Parks. Elon Musk's Boring Company is chosen for an underground transit system for Universal Orlando Resort, specifically by the Shingle Creek Board. The Boring Company was selected, and after there's many proposals, all with autonomous vehicles and pods. Very interesting. I guess that was their goal there, but I'm surprised nothing of higher capacity was on the board. But we'll see. Maybe there's a chance these Elon Musk or the Boeing company will just do the tunneling aspect, and then maybe they'll implement a higher capacity thing inside the tunnels than the Tesla. Although, see, I think it was in the package, the proposal here, they said it was pretty light on details, so they checked all the boxes. But I think people are assuming Teslas will be driving in the tunnels, but we don't really know what type of vehicle will be driving in the tunnels. And Tesla just wouldn't fit for me because it needs to be higher capacity. So hopefully they would do maybe a Tesla train in the tunnels, or a Tesla people mover, something can carry a lot more people, or Tesla automated pods or something. What do you think about this selection proposal? You're nervous or you're excited? What's going on?
Well, we've technically got two stories because we have to have villains at least a little bit, but I do have some visuals for this in order to show people what this experience might actually be like. Because even I was interested myself. There you go. It's the last one right there. See, there's Elon right there. But
Mr. Musk.
Yes. This is very interesting because we've really only seen the build out, the full build out, full package, full experience at, I believe, Vegas.
Yes.
And look, feasibility aside, and I have real questions about feasibility, right? Because the water table is so high.
Yeah.
in Florida. I believe it's like just at sea level, right? And so, like, how do you even install this? Underground. I mean, even Disney couldn't do it back in the 1970s when they were pouring all kinds of money in the park. That's why Magic Kingdom sits on the second level, because underneath it are the utilidors. They couldn't put those below ground because it's below sea level. So boring doing this. Sounds interesting. I just question the feasibility of it. That's one. Maybe they have a plan. But two, though, let's go ahead and get past that. Let's anticipate that this is actually being installed. To Wizards' credit, capacity is really an issue here. You can't do just single,
Just a test holds what, 4 people at max. You have
4
to drive within 3. If you have to fit all 3 seats in the back, and then in the front, so that's 4 people. But you have families of 5 or 6 or 7 that come to Orlando and visit these parks. So
right.
out.
So does this become, something like a bus system or a bus network? Does this use Tesla's new vans that they haven't necessarily brought to market just yet, but we did see those showcased in the Warner Brothers Studios lot, within the last year or so?
Sorry
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt, but you gave me a potential thought. Do you think maybe, and again, I don't know the details of any contracts or the proposal, but do you think maybe they just want to use, or they chose this because they want to use Tesla to do just the tunnel? Then, as you just stated, maybe just put all the Universal buses that they currently use down there instead of going on the city streets. They don't have to stop at red lights and stuff like that, and just
Right.
use them for the tunnels. And so it's really just the same Universal bus system, but just faster because you're going under the tunnels and you don't have to deal with red lights and stuff like that.
Yeah, that could be. And I believe those buses
if
are
that-
electric, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know. I feel like maybe some of them, but when we rode on some were like gas, or at least they were very loud, so it seemed like gas. But they were pretty, like I said, they were pretty fast and efficient. But if that's what they do, then I would be in support of it, because, like I said, if they can figure out how the tunnel works in Orlando, the bus system is pretty good. And even with the red lights, it's still got there pretty fast. But it'd be awesome, yeah, if we can just go and they just use Elon Musk to do the tunnel boring, because I know he can do it pretty cheaply and efficiently. I believe. I don't know the financials, the Vegas thing, but if they just have the buses go under there to make it go super fast, then okay, I could be on board. But
Yeah,
if it's-
possibly.
I
But-
just can't see the Teslas doing it.
Well, and that's the thing. If you do have autonomous vehicles like Tesla's as it's currently set up in Vegas, the only way I would see that experience working with those capacity limitations already being what they are, is this being a more boutique experience. Maybe this comes at an extra charge
or something. Yeah.
Right. So that I could see.
Then again, I don't know. See, if that were to happen, because it's not like I was talking to you on the phone, Disney World. It just takes so long to get anywhere. I feel like the minivans could be actually pretty decent service there, because it's just the free stuff. It's just, at least with the buses, are just so long. But unless Universal cuts the bus service, I mean, it's just so efficient. I don't know why anyone would want to pay an extra price to skip a couple red lights.
Yeah, I mean, that's
service. Like I said, unless they purposely cut the bus service to make it like Disney World, so you're forced to do it, which would be a pretty terrible move. So don't do that. But I don't see how
Okay.
anyone would want to do that, But I guess we'll have to
Right.
see.
John's coming in here. Orlando is about 80 to 100 feet above sea level. Okay, so it
So I
Still
guess maybe
relatively
a
shallow, not
a
zero,
shallow
but-
tunnel okay. So
Yeah.
some sort of tunnel can maybe fit in there.
maybe, possibly. The way I've heard it is that not all land is buildable. Some
Yeah.
land is more, it can support attractions or underground infrastructure more than others, right? Again, look at Horizons. Oh, we miss Horizons, but one of the
Now-
reasons why.
Did we
It's
see
just-
the proposal? I guess I don't, because what if the proposal includes, like, what if they just contracted them, but they opt for an elevated option? Like, I don't know if that was part of the proposal, or if that's what they moved. But what if they just did them because they checked all the whatever boxes they needed, but they also elect to build an elevated option instead of just the tunnel?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could, but then it's like you have bus services at this point anyway. Like, I just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily worth it at, to do something like that. If it is going to be above ground, I think the whole kind of purpose behind this whole thing is that it's much more efficient than anything that you could do maybe by yourself. So I'm not sure about that. I guess you could. Somebody also may have found some documents pertaining to, like, did you see this, a wizard? And it might be fake. So this is why I'm going back and forth with you on this.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody was like, they showed concepts of like a Minions themed vehicle or something like that. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, so those were the other proposals of the request for proposals process. Those are some of the other companies that are proposing autonomous vehicles on an elevated guideway, and then they're showing how they can be themed to different IPs.
Okay.
And so yeah, Universal didn't go with them, but that was like, that's one of the proposals. And
Oh,
they
gotcha. Okay.
then they
Okay.
chose the Boeing. That's when they chose the Boeing company there. But that's why I was like, maybe maybe the Boeing company also had an elevated option like that, but just cheaper. I don't like maybe because the Boeing company, I guess, didn't provide any images or anything in the public documents. So maybe in whatever Universal saw, maybe they also had an elevated guideway or underground guideway. It was just cheaper than the other companies.
Well, I'll give it up to Universal. At least they're investing in transportation options in order to better link, these otherwise very separated, experiences in their flagship resort. It's like, okay, we've heard the criticism. We understand that Disney has a plethora of transportation options, whether it be by boat, monorail, bus, etc. Let's go ahead and build some of that stuff out here. That way we can go ahead and better connect, like Epic Universe to Universal Core, for example. So all those things are good. I don't quite know if this is going to come to fruition, but it has passed a major hurdle, which is government approval to start something later on. So that's my
Yeah, it's
expression
very
right there.
interesting. I wonder. Oh yeah, that's right. I wonder how far it'll go, and I wonder if I guess I'm just curious about the more details. I wonder when we'll find some more details. Yeah, I guess maybe kind of soon if they selected them. So, like construction timelines and renderings of something. Because eventually some permits will be filed, so I guess we'll find out more details there. Because I'm very curious, because I don't know about that capacity, but fingers crossed. I mean, I guess they know what they're doing. Hopefully, yeah.
I guess so. We'll have to see what all happens right here. But I feel remiss, Wizard, if we didn't talk about villains just a little bit based on the recent rumor right there.
Because look at this.
Yes. So this is the one piece of definitive concept art that we have gotten officially released by the Walt Disney Company, showcasing Villains Land right here. There has been a rumor that has originated with Len Testa himself. Len Testa, part of the duo that makes up the Disney Dish podcast, that's with Jim Hill right there, and who has been in this community for quite some time. I mean, I think he's been doing Q analysis for 30 years or something like that. I mean, a very, very long time. Definitely an expert in our field. There's no question about that. Knows his stuff and is highly quoted in major publications and so forth when talking about theme park operations and analytics and so forth. So very, very good source. But he is saying that he is hearing that apparently Imagineers have been told to go back to the drawing board when it comes to Villains Land. To think bigger, think bolder, budget secondary. And that's very interesting because it wasn't so long ago, Wizard, that we had the official plans published by the Walt Disney Company via a notice of commencement with both the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District and the South Florida Water Management District. And what it showed was a series of show buildings that were going to be making up Villains Land, specifically two, but none of those actually really were that ambitious in terms of their scale. I believe the largest one may be as big as Rock and Roller Coaster. I had to refer to my notes, actually. But it was a little bit underwhelming to those who actually saw it, because it was like, really? we're losing Rivers of America and Magic Kingdom for just 2 rides. And so the timing on this is very suspicious. I will say this is post Josh D'Amaro being selected for the job of CEO, so maybe that has something to do with it. At the same time, I can't help but feel, Wizard, that this might be a reaction to what was actually filed via these state agencies. Wizard, your thoughts, please.
Well, see, that's very interesting because, yeah, those permits, yeah, I know they showed a couple of show buildings. Now, from what I heard, here's from people, someone who knew someone on the project, who was working on the project, or actually for a couple of people, they suggested, they kept saying that they had four rides going in there. Now, not all in show buildings. So the permit showed 2 show buildings, but I think one would be the other couple things would be like a carousel or like a flat ride or something like that. Something that's just outdoor, kind of for small children. All right. So I'm very curious what and they previously said a long time ago they heard a Oogie Boogie dark ride was cut. So I'm very curious if they if this is true, if they went back to the drawing board, if some of those things like a Oogie Boogie Dark Ride will be brought back in, or if maybe the villain's main ride will be bigger and better than ever, or the roller coaster. I don't know. I mean, it's very hard to tell what the roller coaster would have been like from that concept art with it showed it going in loops all over the place. We don't even know how big it is, but I'm curious if it was like a Flight of the Hippogriff, a small coaster, or like an actual like maybe Thunder Mountain, like actual family coaster or something like that, because you can't really tell from that concept art. And maybe they'll add a show, right? Maybe they'll add a villain show. Maybe not port this one over, but add some sort of villain show and make it expand a little bit. But we'll see. I'm very curious to see if this is true, how much bigger a boulder it did get or will get, and newly updated permits or in concept art that get in.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say here. Again, this is a lot of it's kind of rumor, speculation. Again, comes from a good source, and that's why people are talking about it, because of the strength of its source, right? When you got a random, guy over there on some forum somewhere saying, "Hey, I got it from some guy. I got the bus driver. He's telling me it's going to be big." Nobody's giving that any credence. But because it's Lintesta, that comes with a little bit of credibility for sure. And it's just... I'm not sure. WDW Pro has a source. He's telling him, "Hey, look, listen, this ain't gonna go anywhere." So this isn't true. It's like, okay, well, that's a little bit discouraging. And then I've also heard it that potentially this might have been something that was done very early on in the project. So the timing.
Yeah, that's what I also heard potentially as well. But that they could have been those cut and the new plans of the bigger bolder plans, because they're like they already said don't make it bigger,
right? Which we saw from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, for example, right? Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the initial plans were brought forward to Bob Iger. He rejected them and said, "Hey, this really should be themed to the new trilogy coming out, especially given the success of The Force Awakens," which, well, let's be honest, it made $2 billion at the box office. So in the short term, probably not the worst idea. Long term, didn't quite work out for them. But to give people an idea of how large these structures are, I'm going to go ahead and read this right here from Walt Disney World Magic. Rough measurements of the facility structures shown in the plans reveal substantial building footprints across both lands. The largest structure sits in the Villains Land area at approximately 70,000 square feet. This is comparable to Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which measures in at 71,000 square feet. The second Villains building measures in at around 48,000 square feet. Again, this is roughly half of something like Rise of the Resistance. So that's why a lot of people were like, those are quite small given the amount of expectation coming from the fan community regarding Villains Land. It's like, this land has to be big, has to be bold. People have been waiting decades for it. And so it's like, go big or go home. Now, I will say, Josh D'Amaro, coming from that theme park background that we've established previously on the show, he actually, I don't know if you know this, Wizard, before he goes to Georgetown University to study business, he actually was trying to become a sculptor at a kind of an art college over there. And I believe his mom was the head of kind of an arts council, if you will. Anyway, he has art in his blood. And It was actually him welding together a steel structure, 12 feet tall. It was a steel sculpture, actually, at like 2 o'clock in the morning, where he was like, I don't know how I'm ever going to feed a family with this. So he dropped that and then joined Georgetown University in order to study business. But he has kind of a creative background, right? And I think he understands what works and what doesn't on some level. For example, I did hear about a story in which Tropical Americas was being developed, right? And the Imagineer relaying the story said Josh came in there and said, hey, these buildings for Tropical Americas, which are going to be reusing a lot of the Animal Kingdom Dinoland area, right? He said these buildings can't look like they're just repainted. Okay, so I guess they did look like they were just repainted. So he's asking for more in that instance. That's good. And he's also very candid with the Imagineers when it comes to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, for example. HBR just recently had an article in which he said to 30 Imagineers sitting at the table, look, guests like this ride, they don't love it. Can we overcome some of its issues? Like, for example, the gunner and engineer positions not being as interactive and engaging as maybe the pilot position, right? And apparently that's what they're going to overcome with this new update come in May for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But when it comes to Villain's Land, look, these things are filed, Wizard. I just don't know how at this junction, the ground is being graded. I don't know how you kind of pivot away from this at this point. And if they do, then we should expect amended filings for these notice of commencements that have been filed with SIFTOD and SwiftMod.
Yeah, and it can still happen because we'll have to see. Yeah, because with back in Epic Universe, while that was under construction, the show changed from the show to Curse of the Werewolf. During the construction of that, so it does happen occasionally, like not really, but like sometimes it's like one or two things. But we'll see. I feel like at D23 we'll get, I guess, a lot more information, because right now all we has that one piece of concept art. But now that things are officially under construction, hopefully in August we'll be getting some actual concrete details and some new concept art that will be maybe more realistic for than what we got before. And
if D23 doesn't have a parks panel, it's all a sham. It's all a sham, Wizard. No,
D23 doesn't have a parks panel, I would be screaming.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people were, but people were, I think, a little bit disappointed. Wizard, was it Destination D23? It didn't have a parks panel officially scheduled.
Yeah, and it's weird because they're gonna spread some park stuff in other panels, and maybe to get you to watch. But that should show you about what's going on with other panels. But even then, it wasn't like a lot. It was like the repainting of the castle, for example, that's happening now, was in like the castle's panel or something. And I'm like, yeah, you're just taking all these things and made a parks panel. But whatever.
Well, I mean, Wizard, you're spending. You're allegedly spending $60 billion on the park division, and you don't have a parks panel actually scheduled for your big D23 event. Something doesn't add up, Wizard. What is it? I don't know. Hopefully, though, we get really the great tranche of funding that I guess we can hope for now that Josh D'Amaro is in the CEO position, and he's more in charge of the purse strings coming out for Burbank. Maybe, hopefully, possibly, not sure. The other thing, too, is that it is. I am optimistic that Josh D'Amaro is he comes from a parks background. He understands how these things work. Understands that you need money to make these things happen. And it's good that we're hearing rumors that they want bigger and better. I just don't know if they're going to be able to achieve that. And I know Drew Disney Dude, he recently tweeted that, hey, the same people who did the rock work for Cars Land, for example, which is so celebrated and beloved, they're doing the rock work for Villain's Land. I believe that's Zolt, if I'm not mistaken. Which is good. But remember, he says, I love Disney Drew, by the way. I just want to, put that out there. But at the tail end, he's saying, I am optimistic. He is saying that not because, the last slew of projects from WDI were bangers. He's saying that because they're not so great, right? That's why he's saying, I am optimistic.
And to go back to Josh on his Combat Millennium Falcon, maybe he'll have the same realization with Tiana's Bayou Adventure and stick some money into that one. One can only hope, because that's you know, people have the people may like it or dislike it, or but I don't know if many people love it. You have the diehards, but I think that has the same kind of rep as Smuggler's Run. And you may like it, but I think everyone comes off. Most people come off saying, "Oh, yeah, but that could be just a little bit better, or a lot of bit better," to make it up to Paul.
Right.
So maybe if he, if he had that same, if he really believes that, just say, well, I guess the person did the article was sitting in on a meeting or something. So maybe he really believes it. I hope he does, because maybe he'll go around to many attractions. Because honestly, if Disney if he went to some subpar attractions, and instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to build a new ride this year, I'll take that. I'm going to enhance on old ones, maybe not so great. I'll take it. I don't need a new ride if you're going to enhance and really actually enhance and make it good. An old ride like Tiana's by Adventure, and maybe the one that's not so good, or Web Slingers or something like that. If you just enhance some clunkers, maybe you can forgive a new ride of a couple of years. But we'll have to see how the Smuggler's Run update is, and we'll have to see what all these new projects at Disney World actually turn out to be.
That's a good point.
To see if it's all talk, or maybe it's not. Maybe he believes it, but maybe it's not what we hope. So we'll have to see. But I'm a little optimistic. I don't know about the Avengers things. I just don't like wearing the glasses. I don't know about the Avengers, but I'm optimistic about the Coco and Disney World stuff.
Load up the Avengers campus attraction with a bunch of audio animatronics. Make that physical. Maybe I'll be much more optimistic about the future of some of these Disney park expansions. But for right now, I mean, the track record is very uneven.
Exactly. I mean, let's say they did change Villains Land as it's under construction. Well, hey, you can change Avengers and events then when it's under construction. I mean, they're just done the building, so just quickly make a thing where you just I heard, as I told you, I heard the giant Ant-Man coming through the roof was supposed to be an animatronic, but that was cut into a screen. Well, bring back the animatronic for that segment, little things like that, and maybe, hey, Member Avengers will be amazing. So we'll have to see when it opens, and hopefully tomorrow we're getting opening year. Fingers crossed. But yeah, if I don't see many animatronics, I'm gonna be a little worried about Josh. But right now, nothing's open, so we can't judge him until we can't. He has that on his side that we can't actually see what he's doing.
So, yeah. I mean, look, I listen. It could have been a lot worse, Wizard. I mean, it could have been Dana Walden getting in there.
Then we wouldn't get any those projects.
Yeah, we're not spending anything on the parks. We're taking all this money and spending on entertainment in order to ramp this whole thing up. At least, company is in the hands of somebody who understands the value of the theme park division. That being said, how you extract that value is really where the rubber meets the road, and we've seen how Josh has done that in the past. Hopefully, they are spending the money that they should be spending in order to get people to book vacations to Walt Disney World, spend money on Lightning Lane, do it the right way. But a subpar experience, especially at the cost of Disney's Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom, it better be worth it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, so we'll have to see. And Doctor, if you do a live stream tomorrow, I know you'll probably do one right away.
Mm-hmm.
If you also do one at night,
yes,
I'd love to be on.
Yes, so I do want to do a regular night stream on the Vashkai Parkcast channel. The thing that has tripped me up just a little bit is that there's a lot of people streaming at night as well. And so I want to know from the community most interested in theme park content, when would you want a night stream from me and on the new channel? So that way we can have great, amazing minds like Theme Park Wizard, OG55, but I don't know, maybe maybe theme park philosopher. Some of these amazing voices that I think can really speak eloquently on the West Coast as well as they can on the East Coast join us and provide maybe a different flavor of theme park driven content that you've maybe seen from channels I've been previously associated with. I would love to get these people on in a regular capacity. It's just, well, to do that, I need to know when to go live for the channel. So I'm going to be putting out a community post very shortly, asking people when they would want something like that, what night would you want it, and roughly maybe what time you'd want it. That way, I know when to actually set something up. Because hey, I'm working for you. That's where my position is right now. I want to go ahead and be very in tune with this audience, what they want, what they expect, and so forth. So please go ahead and let me know that when that community post comes out. And to get your first access to that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button on the Vashkai Podcast channel. That way you are notified when we go live or when we drop community post and when we drop content, which is going to be coming very, very shortly. Wizard, you were going to say.
We have 2 votes for Tuesday, so looks like that's the leader so
Tuesday.
far.
Okay. All right. That'll be on the list there.
But yes, Biasa, thank you so much for joining on this lovely stream about all these lovely park topics on. Hold on, I wrote down the new name for this stream. It's Wizards Parks Headlines. There you go. New name for the
Wizards
stream.
Parks Headlines.
I just can't. It's hard for me to keep up with one day. So I'm like, all right, these gonna have to be on random days because Mondays get a little busy for me. But yes, Wizards Parks Headlines. Thanks you for joining this lovely stream. Make sure to subscribe to Vashkai Podcast. Follow Magically MJ on all types of content. And as always, have a phantasmic day. Oh yeah. Oh, I gotta send my